What were some of the major influences that helped you maintain your faith for as long as you did?
Um, well, there were a lot of people and also just resources on top of people. Um, but my high school youth minister, Young Life, church, um, were all things within my life that kept me connected and plugged in to my faith. Um, but also the Bible, heaven, um, the feeling of hope, worship, service. I mean, there's so many things that again, religion provides that are so comforting um, and beautiful at times and very moving emotionally. So I think all those things kind of together kept me going, and the fear of losing those things really restricted me from questioning them.
What were some of your major influences that helped you start to leave religion?
Um, gosh, well, I would say that the first thing would be the Bible. Um, I read the Bible in about a 5 month period during my journey. So that was a huge factor in and of itself, was actually reading the scriptures from cover to cover, and not just reading them, um, but studying them and really asking questions as I read the stories within the Bible, especially the Old Testament. Um, and then there were some authors that were very influential. Dan Barker, who was a former evangelical, John Loftus, who was also a former evangelical and studied under William Lane Craig. Also, the YouTube community. Before my deconversion and right after my deconversion, that was my lifeline to non-believers. Everyone else in my world um, was the evangelical Christian. So my best friends, my first friends who were non-believers were people I'd never met. There's people on YouTube. 43 Alley, Non-Stamp Collector, Dark Matter, Evidence. And there's a lot out there. Religious fiction, The Atheist Experience. I listen to Matt a lot, and everyone else on all the other hosts, not just Matt. But so those channels kind of became, in a way, my new best friends. Um, and then there are other books here and there, but that's pretty much it.
Tell me what you think about the labels we give to people, especially religious labels.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of labels. I guess technically, I'm an agnostic atheist. Um, I prefer to, when it comes to labels for me, I prefer to label myself not in what I don't believe, but what I do believe. So I guess I could be a secular humanist or what have you. But to be labeled an atheist, I guess technically yes, I am. I lack the belief in God, but I would rather steer clear of that quote unquote label. But I'm not ashamed of it. I would say yeah, I'm an atheist, but prefer the secular humanist. What would it take for me to believe in a theistic God, or maybe even the God of the Bible? Um, well, currently the evidence, air quotes, the evidence that's been presented for the past 2,000 years obviously has not um, done the job for me. So I don't know what specific evidence, but it would be evidence that's verifiable, um, and that is indisputable, and that can actually point to there either being a God or the biblical God being who he says he is. Um, but again, that evidence has not been brought forth in the past 2,000 years. So, but until that time happens, I am where I am.
How would you feel if evidence were brought forth, like maybe some new discovery that showed, not beyond a doubt, but showed that it's very realistic that there's a theistic God?
I wouldn't be upset. If evidence came about that showed there was a God or showed that the biblical God was real, um, maybe even proved that there was a God and proved that the biblical God was real, I wouldn't be upset. Um, I would be happy, actually. Not because, um, yes, there's a God and I'm wrong, but yes, I'm following truth. And so I wouldn't be upset at all. I think some believers out there are surprised to hear that, but I think most non-believers wouldn't be upset. It's not like we don't want there to be a God. It's just that we don't see that there is a God. We don't see the evidence. That's all we're asking for. So I would be happy.
If you were a Christian and I was asking the same question about what if you found evidence that Allah and Muhammad were, who they claim to be, how would you have responded as a Christian to that question?
Well, as a Christian, I'd say that can't be.
It's not possible.
There is this. That's not possible. Jesus is it. Period. I don't know. I can't speak for other believers. I think there would be a handful of Christians who would, okay, we'll follow Muhammad. I think there would be a handful of Christians that would, oh, no matter what, Bible's real. I don't care what evidence shows, Bible's real, and Jesus was God. I think you're going to have those out there as well, but I can really only speak for me. I'm not sure how I would have handled that, though. Yeah, logic, compassion, truth are very important to me. And so during my deconversion, those were some of the driving forces. And the truth, following truth, is very important to me and is very important to me. So I followed the evidence, and then of course evaluating all the different atrocity stories within the Old Testament, and that really went against every grain of my heart of what I believe to be morally right and morally wrong. And when I saw those stories and really started reading them and studying them, that was another huge factor. So compassion and truth are two driving factors that led me away from my Christianity. Check, check, check.